The silence before the storm. It begins not with a speech, but with silence. The kind of silence that follows centuries of betrayal. The silence of a continent watching its own blood being sold in neat diplomatic packages. In a dusty conference room in Ouagadougou, a young soldier stands before men twice his age. The air is heavy with the weight of protocol, the illusion of sovereignty. Cameras flash, journalists wait, but his eyes, dark, unwavering, tell a different story. He is Ibrahim Traoré, and today he will speak words that no African leader has dared to say in decades. Outside, the crowd grows restless. Some chant his name. Others whisper that he is dangerous, a spark in a room soaked with gasoline. But he remains calm, because he knows something that most have forgotten. Freedom does not arrive in whispers. It roars through the mouths of the brave. The camera pans closer, his face half in shadow, half in light. The symbolism is unmistakable, a continent split between hope and despair, dignity and dependency, memory and amnesia. And as he begins to speak, his voice cuts through the noise. Africa must stop kneeling. The words hang in the air like thunder rolling across the desert. Some applaud, others shift uncomfortably in their suits. But every black person listening, in Accra, in Harlem, in Kingston, in Paris, feels something stir deep inside. A pulse, a memory, a truth long buried beneath the rubble of history. The narrator's voice returns, low and reflective. They told us that independence had been won, that our flags were enough to replace our chains. But when you challenge the world order, the world will come for you. And so, the moment Traore took the microphone, invisible enemies sharpened their knives. He was not supposed to speak this boldly. He was not supposed to remind Africa of her reflection. He was supposed to obey, to smile, to sign, to pretend. But the captain refused. And with that refusal, he became more dangerous than any army. Because truth, when spoken by the poor, becomes a weapon. The scene unfolds, a private meeting, dimly lit, between foreign envoys and local elites. Their words are polite, but their eyes betray fear. They speak of stability, of security, of partnership, but everyone in that room knows what those words truly mean: control. Cut to Traore, seated alone, studying the old speeches of Sankara, Nkrumah, Lumumba, men who dreamed of liberation and were silenced by bullets and betrayal. He reads in silence and then whispers, "They died trying to wake us up. I will not let them die in vain." The tension rises. Rumors of plots circulate. Foreign media begins to call him a radical. Western diplomats call for dialogue. But the people, the farmers, the miners, the youth, call him brother. They see in him what their fathers once saw in Thomas Sankara, not a politician, but a mirror of their dignity. And so, the old powers tremble. The script's rhythm intensifies, music shifting from deep drums to sharp strings. Images of protests, of flags being raised, of soldiers saluting barefoot, proud and unafraid. Traore begins removing foreign troops from Burkina's soil. He speaks openly against imperialism, against the puppet strings that make nations dance. And somewhere, in the halls of global finance, alarms go off. Not because of what he has done, but because of what he has awakened. They try to erase leaders like him from history books, to reduce revolutions to footnotes. But the fire cannot be buried. It waits in the hearts of those who remember hunger and humiliation and still choose to stand. There are moments in history when a single voice echoes louder than 1,000 armies. And long after that voice is gone, its echo remains guiding those who refuse to bow. Ibrahim Traoré's message is not for Burkina Faso alone. It is for every black soul scattered across oceans and borders, every man and woman who has been told to forget their worth. His words remind us that freedom is not a flag, it's a state of mind. It's the courage to say no when everyone else has learned to kneel. It's the strength to build, not for approval, but for survival. Africa does not need saviors. She needs sons and daughters who remember, because remembering is rebellion. And unity, true unity, begins when we recognize that our struggle is one and the same. So if you are black, if your roots trace back to the mother continent, listen not just to his speeches, but to his silence. Listen to the moments between his words, where pride and pain collide. For in that silence lies the heartbeat of a people who refuse to die quietly. And perhaps one day, when another young leader stands where Traore once stood, he will not have to shout to be heard, because by then, Africa will finally be listening to itself. What truth would you dare to speak when silence becomes betrayal? Subscribe to witness more stories of courage that change the world.